You know, I once heard a story about a man who lived to be 102 years old. When people asked him his secret, he'd just smile and say, "I never stop moving." Simple, right? But here's the thing, it wasn't just about exercise. It was about how he lived every single day, the way he ate, the way he rested, even the way he talked to his friends. Small habits, repeated over time, added up to decades of vibrant, healthy living. Now, I don't know about you, but that got me thinking, what if the secret to a longer, happier life isn't some miracle pill or extreme diet, but just a handful of simple daily choices, the kind of things we can control, no matter our age? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. Because after 65, the little things matter more than ever. And the best part? It's never too late to start. So let's dive into 6 daily habits that can add years, good years, to your life. You've probably heard 100 times that exercise is important, but here's the truth. It doesn't have to mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. In fact, the best kind of movement is the kind you'll actually do. Take my neighbor, Margaret. She's 78, and her exercise is dancing to old jazz records in her living room every morning. 10 minutes, that's it. But you should see her, full of energy, smiling, and her doctor says her heart health is better than most people a decade younger. The key, find what feels good. A brisk walk, gentle yoga, even gardening, anything that gets you off the couch and into motion. Because here's what happens when you move regularly. Your joints stay flexible, your heart stays strong, and your mood, well, that gets a boost too. So today, ask yourself, what's one way I can move my body that actually feels fun? Maybe it's a short stroll after dinner or stretching while watching your favorite show. Start small. The goal isn't perfection, it's just showing up. Now let's talk about food. And no, I'm not going to tell you to give up everything you love. But here's something fascinating. Researchers who study blue zones, places where people live the longest, noticed one common thread. Their plates are full of color. Not from candy, of course, but from vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains. Think about it. A bowl of hearty lentil soup, a handful of berries, or a big salad with olive oil. These foods aren't just filling. They're packed with the stuff your body craves as you age. Fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats. But here's the real secret. It's not about deprivation. It's about adding in the good stuff. Love pasta? Try mixing in some sautéed spinach or mushrooms. Enjoy a sweet treat. Pair it with a handful of nuts to keep your blood sugar steady. The bottom line? You don't have to overhaul your diet overnight. Just ask yourself, what's one colorful, wholesome food I can add to my day? Maybe it's tossing some carrots into your soup or swapping white bread for whole grain. Small changes, big rewards. This one might surprise you, but did you know that loneliness can be as harmful as smoking? It's true. Our need for connection doesn't fade as we get older. If anything, it grows stronger. But here's the good news. Staying connected doesn't require a packed social calendar. It's about quality, not quantity. A weekly phone call with a grandchild, a coffee date with an old friend, even a friendly chat with your mail carrier. These moments matter. Take my friend Henry. After his wife passed, he made a rule for himself. Never eat alone. Some days that meant inviting a neighbor over. Other days, it was joining a community lunch at his local senior center. Slowly, those shared meals became the highlight of his week, and his doctor noticed his blood pressure improved too. So, if you've been feeling a little isolated lately, start small. Reach out to someone today, even just a quick text or a wave to a neighbor, because the people in your life, they're not just good for your soul, they're good for your health. Now, we've covered 3 powerful habits so far. Moving in, ways you enjoy, eating for longevity, and staying connected. But there are 3 more that can make just as big of a difference, so let's keep going. You know, there's a saying that goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And that's exactly how I want you to think about these next habits. It doesn't matter if you've never done them before. What matters is that you start now, because every day is a new chance to invest in your health, your happiness, and yes, even your longevity. So let's keep building on what we've already covered. We've talked about moving your body, eating for vitality, and staying socially connected. Now let's dive into 3 more daily habits that can help you feel stronger, sharper, and more vibrant than ever. If there's one thing I've learned from talking to people in their 70s, 80s, and beyond, it's this. Sleep isn't just about rest, it's about repair. Think of it like your body's nightly tune-up. While you're asleep, your brain clears out toxins, your muscles recover, and your immune system gets to work. But here's the problem. As we age, sleep can become harder to come by. Maybe you wake up more often during the night, or you struggle to fall asleep in the first place. Sound familiar? Well, here's a trick my own grandmother swore by, the wind down hour. Instead of flipping through TV channels or scrolling on your phone right before bed, which by the way tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, try this instead. About an hour before you want to sleep, dim the lights. Maybe sip a cup of caffeine-free tea. Read a book, the old-fashioned paper kind, or just sit quietly and let your mind unwind. It's amazing how much of a difference this small shift can make. And if you still find yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., don't stress. Get up, go to another room and do something calming until you feel sleepy again. Fighting it just makes it worse. Remember, sleep isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. So tonight, give yourself permission to make it a priority. Let's talk about your brain for a minute. Just like your muscles, it needs regular exercise to stay strong. But here's the catch. It has to be new challenges. Doing the same crossword puzzle every day? That's like lifting the same 2-pound weight for years. Eventually, your brain gets bored. So how do you keep it sharp? Shake things up a little. Try brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Take a different route on your daily walk. Learn a few words of a new language. No pressure to become fluent, just play with it. Even something as simple as trying a new recipe counts, because it forces your brain to focus in a fresh way. My friend Edna, who's 82, started taking piano lessons last year. She jokes that she'll never be a concert pianist, but that's not the point. What matters is that she's laughing, learning, and giving her brain a workout without even realizing it. So ask yourself, what's one small new thing I can try this week? It doesn't have to be big, just different. This last habit might be the most powerful of all, because here's what the research shows. People who wake up with a sense of purpose tend to live longer, healthier lives. Now, purpose doesn't have to mean some grand mission. It can be as simple as taking care of a pet who depends on you, volunteering to read to kids at the local library, passing down family stories to your grandchildren, even tending to a garden that brings you joy. My uncle, Leo, at 89, started a tiny gratitude journal. Every morning he writes down one thing he's looking forward to that day, even if it's just watching the birds at his feeder. That simple act gives his day focus and meaning, so think about it. What makes you feel needed? What brings you joy? Whatever it is, weave it into your days, because when you have a reason to get up in the morning, you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. Now, we've covered all 6 habits: movement, nourishment, connection, sleep, mental challenges, and purpose. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to share with you. You know, when I first started researching this topic, I came across a study that stuck with me. Researchers found that people who adopted just one healthy habit after age 65, just one, had a significantly lower risk of serious health problems. But here's what really amazed me: those who combined several of these habits. They didn't just live longer, they lived better, more energy, more joy, more of those precious moments that make life worth living. That's what this has all been about. Not adding years to your life just for the sake of numbers, but adding life to your years. More mornings waking up feeling refreshed, more afternoons spent doing what you love, more evenings sharing laughter with people who matter. So let's tie it all together with one final powerful thought. Consistency beats perfection every time. Maybe you're thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually make it stick? Here's the secret. Forget about overhauling your entire routine overnight. Instead, focus on tiny, sustainable changes. Remember Margaret, who dances to jazz every morning? She started with just 2 minutes a day. My neighbor who eats more colorful meals. He began by simply adding a handful of spinach to his eggs. Small steps lead to big transformations. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these 6 habits, just one that feels doable, and commit to it for the next week. Not forever, just 7 days. Once that feels natural, layer in another. Progress, not pressure. Maybe you're thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually make it stick? Here's the secret. Forget about overhauling your entire routine overnight. Instead, focus on tiny, sustainable changes. Remember Margaret, who dances to jazz every morning. She started with just 2 minutes a day. My neighbor who eats more colorful meals. He began by simply adding a handful of spinach to his eggs. Small steps lead to big transformations. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these 6 habits, just one that feels doable, and commit to it for the next week. Not forever, just 7 days. Once that feels natural, layer in another. Progress, not pressure. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these habits resonates most? Maybe you already do some of them. Tell us about it. Or perhaps you've got your own secret to aging well. Share it. This isn't just my advice, it's our collective wisdom. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps more people like you discover this content. I'll leave you with this. There's a 94-year-old woman in Japan named Hideko who took up competitive swimming at 80. She now holds world records. When asked her secret, she said, "I decided to stop waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time is now." So, whatever your age, whatever your circumstances, today is your day to begin. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, today. Because the truth is, you don't need a radical change to transform your later years. You just need to start one small, joyful habit at a time. Here's to your health, happiness, and all the wonderful years ahead. Now go enjoy them.